If you're a driven, active person who wants to reach and pursue a higher quality life with some ambition, then guess what? This podcast is for you. This is the Driven Athlete Podcast. What's up, y'all? It's your man, Dr. Kyle. Welcome back to the Driven Athlete Podcast. We got a really cool guest with us, Deborah. Thanks for coming in. I know you're a busy person running Outlive Labs.
I am.
Super excited for you to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for asking me to join you.
Totally. We wanted to dive in and learn more about what y'all do, you know? So tell people what is Outlive Labs and where y'all at?
Outlive Labs is a peak performance and wellness studio in West Palm Beach. And, we've curated sort of the best modalities that we could find that will get us to that place every time we use them. So instead of just, maybe a lot of people will go to seminars and they'll do these deep dives, but then how do we take it home and make it accessible daily to get into that peak state? I want that energy. I need that energy. How am I going to access that again? And we believe that's through these circuits and community and different events.
Awesome. Peak performance, right? What does that look like? Like, what does that mean in the circuits you're describing? Like what? Great
question. It's really just unlocking what our best pharmacy that is known to man, which is right in between our ears, right? So whenever we can unlock all of those endorphins and different interactions that our brain is having with our mind and with our body.
All the neurotransmitters.
We can get into peak state. And that's when we make the best choices about our life and about the things that we need to do, the things that we're here to do and that we're called to do. And so it's different for everybody, really. It's going to be different for the elite athlete than it is for the mom that's maybe driving the elite athletes to practice.
Exactly. Yeah, taxi service.
Yeah, but we all need to be able to understand how to access it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
To then be a high performer in their own life.
Yes.
Whatever it calls for.
Yes.
I like that. The best pharmacy is between our ears, right?
Yes.
Right. 100%. All the endogenous and leveraging all the endogenous neurotransmitters and hormones and chemicals that we can naturally.
Yeah.
What avenues do y'all do that?
How do we do that? It's just greeting. It starts with how we greet the people that are coming through the front door and setting the expectation of you're going to feel amazing and we're going to uncover it and we're going to drop the barriers and we're going to play full out for this next 50 minutes. We're going to work out in our bathing suits. We're going to get in the hot. We're going to get in the cold. We're going to lift heavy things. We're going to assess posture. We're going to learn more about our bodies. We're going to jump around. We're going to play a lot and we're going to recover and we're going to put something together that makes you feel like you also have direction should you choose to decide that this is the way you want to go.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So developing a plan, which I would imagine for you guys, unique for everybody.
Yes.
Different stages of life, different goals, different values.
Absolutely. It's a blueprint. And some people will take to the contrast therapy a little more openly than others. And I always say the more resistant you are to the cold, lucky you, because you're actually going to benefit even more from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it is different. It's different for everybody. And I think that's kind of the key is that it's for everybody and it's different for everybody. And, but we all get to reach the same state at the end of it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Which I imagine is a super great high performance confidence, right? A state of confidence.
Yes.
I heard from a mental health professional for athletes or just people who need to perform for their job, their career, they want to, be ambitious and drive goals and stuff. As in like, if somebody's struggling with their identity, how do you know who you are, right? How do you know what you like? What's the best? Who are you as an identity, as like an athlete? Right? As an example, if you think about some athletes that they take on that characteristic and identity as the villain, they want to be booed. They're going to trash talk. They're not dirty, but they're just aggressive.
Yeah.
And they like that villain identity, right? Versus other ones who are maybe not like that, But like, how do you find that? And she was like, well, what was I say? And you tell me what you said, but what you think. She was like, when you were performing your absolute best and you feel like you were the most effective, who were you then? That's your peak performing identity. And I was like, I like that.
And it's observing it, right? So we have to observe and connect with our heart is what I like to say. So if I'm connected with what's really going on with me and I'm observing when I'm the most fulfilled and doing the things that are the most exciting, and I'm creating that, then that's just going to build and build and build more. And the same is true for the opposite. So it's so much about just capturing our thoughts and observing who we are in these moments so that we can expand and grow in the right ways rather than growing the things that we don't want to grow.
Right. That I would imagine, well, I'm interpreting that as in like growing in a way that's not optimal for you would be fitting expectations of other people.
Yeah, it could be so many different things. Expectations of other people. It could just be waking up and thinking I'm not enough and going into feeling scared or whatever the that spiral is that we all kind of battle. Capturing those thoughts and saying, I don't believe that. That's not true. The things that I'm thinking aren't always true. And finding other avenues to build and grow the other side, the side that's really what we're here, that we're called to do.
Yeah. The healthy and growth version of yourself.
And that really is what Outlive is all about, is helping people understand how to do that process, you know? And so, yes, the modalities are there and they are all a significant part of it because it has to be a physiological thing as well, like mind and body and soul. It's all interconnected. You can't really do one without the other. But I think when we have something that puts a short-term stressor on us and creates that variability, and we're going in mindfully saying, this is good for me, then we can overcome the real stressors, or not real, but you know, the things that maybe we don't want to deal with, or the difficulties that come along in a much smoother way, because we're building that muscle.
Yeah.
And we're building it with community, and we're building it and we're feeling good.
Yeah.
And it just that gives us a certain kind of momentum that I think society is really craving right now. We're trying to find it in supplements, or we're trying to find it in a certain gym routine, or whatever different habits.
Bad diets.
Yeah, there's so many different things, but it's just all, we have it all already. I think we unlock it better when we're in the right community and we have access to variability in terms of how we're using our body and approaching the day. And breath work is a big part of it too. The more I'm learning about that and the more that I'm using that in my own life, instant state change, no matter where I'm at.
That's awesome. So I want to ask about breath work in a sec. So what you're saying is like utilizing and leveraging these modalities to access the best pharmacy we can with some awareness in that journey to then have a better high performing state and identity that can be found and then grow into that.
Yes. And have fun while you're doing it.
Have fun while doing it.
Associate this all with fun. Like our life really is our medicine. It's not in the things of it, you know, or in the, it's not in the things. It's finding more of the medicine in the life we're experiencing and creating this beautiful emotional home rather. And because that's where we all live. You know, we're all living right here. Yeah. And I can sit
24 hours a day.
Yeah. And I can sit here and make that a really unpleasant place and thinking all of these negative things, or I can make it a really beautiful, exciting, fun place. And guess what? Nothing on the outside of the world changes, but everything on the inside does. And then we begin to attract all of these beautiful relationships and business opportunities and callings and momentum. And that's when I've seen myself come alive in the last, over a period of time, but certainly within the last 2 years of crossing paths with the Morozco Forge. Have to give a shout out to their ice plunge, game changer. It brought me back to me, and that's the way I'm made, and the way that I responded to it was, it just woke me up.
I can tell you're really enthusiastic because and you believe in this stuff.
Yeah.
I've always felt like the best way to help attract the right people is just the conviction and belief behind what you're already doing. And I can tell that in you. Hardcore for sure. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
What were the things that led to that? It was this experience, the cold plunge experience you had with this?
What led to me needing to find it?
That. Yeah. And then the motivation to do Outlive Labs.
So I've experienced, like not just like everybody else, but I've experienced a lot in life. And my kids are getting older, and I experienced some big trials. And I was in a place emotionally that I never thought I would see myself in, which is how, I'm upset, I'm down about these things. And where is my energy now? How am I going to pick myself back up and find the thing I need to do and be excited about it again? I know who I've always been, and I've always been able to tap into that. Why can't I do it now? I'm not going to go and take a pill. I'm not going to, take on some sort of negative addictive substance, like drinking or anything like that. So what am I going to do? What's calling me? And I had some really good friends in the health and wellness space. This is when Morozko Forge came to me through a good friend of mine. And I was called to it. And I bought it sight unseen. I was like, I think this is the way to go. I did some research, and I'm hearing the feedback, and getting in that state where I didn't know. I had no idea how I was going to get myself out of this funk. And that's what worked.
What was it?
The getting in the cold plunge, and just even at 45 or 50 degrees initially, just to get in at that, what now I consider to be a higher temperature.
That is cold.
And now I'm like, it's, everybody said, oh, keep doing it. It'll get easier. And it truly, truly does. The body adapts within 3 to 4 times of using it. But
cool.
I would say using that gave me that energy, that lift to sort of remember who I've been. And it brought it to the present again so that I could begin the path. I wasn't ready to just go and work out at the gym. I wasn't ready to do some of the other things that I know in my mind would help me get to certain places, but I wasn't really convinced it would do what I needed it to do. And somehow the cold plunge is able to snap me out of it.
Cool. That's awesome. 45 was cold.
Yeah, well, now we're at 34, I think, right now.
Oh my gosh.
On most days, yeah.
That's awesome. It's crazy.
So good. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing.
I'm an advocate. I like I always feel invigorated, and like it's super challenging and uncomfortable. Totally. I haven't done it enough to get super familiar. Like I'm not at that stage.
So we're gonna get you in, and what I want to do is give you a test. So when you walk in, I want you to tell me like how you're feeling, just about everything when you walk in, and then I want to take you through the circuit, and then I want you to tell me how you're feeling at the end. Okay. And then I want you to tell me how the rest of your day feels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
How do you? I've heard from a lot of people, as in like, oh, I can't do cold plunges. I can't do it. Or like I just not my thing. They're just very cold averse. What do you say to them?
Well, first of all, I don't think anybody should be coerced into doing it. I think it's something you do with an open mind because you want to challenge yourself to be your best. So I would say why are you here? Because I would imagine that they're probably at Outlive, feeling adverse about the cold. Yeah. What I typically say is that you're lucky because you're going to get even more of a benefit of it. And to just try it, slip in, slip out, see how you feel. And it's not, you only have to benefit from it. Yeah. So
I've always felt, it's something I tell myself. It's like, you're not going to die. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like, you're going to be very uncomfortable, and then you get out, and then it goes away within 30 seconds.
And that, and that.
You can handle that.
Yes. And that discomfort and that mental resilience that comes with putting ourselves in that discomfort is just such an amazing benefit. Yeah,
totally. I've heard a lot of really great arguments and benefits from a psychology standpoint of like from other professionals, not me, right? That's not my thing. And then also guys like Wim Hof, right? The Iceman we talked about before. The willingness to purposely do uncomfortable things with yourself, as in like a very hard workout. It's not exactly enjoyable when you're dying and like your muscles are burning and you're out of breath. It hurt. It doesn't feel good. But the willingness to put yourself there consistently, right? Yes. Ultimately leads to a lot of changes that happen in neurochemistry. And then similar thing with the cold plunge. I totally agree with that. Same benefits.
Well, there's stressors that build us and there's stressors that tear us down, right? So going into the gym is an example of a stressor that's going to build us. But if we, have a stressor where we break something or we, do something disastrous, then that's the type of stress that's going to lay us up and we're going to lose a lot of strength during that period of time. But I think looking at stress as something that's more neutral, it's not bad or good.
Yeah.
It's just, it's necessary. There is a necessary amount and the right amount of stress that is needed in order to challenge us and help us become stronger. And one of the things that we've done is as a human race, is create this incredibly comfortable life.
Oh, yeah.
We're always striving for comfort, ease. We need everything easy. We need everything comfortable. And in doing that, we've just put ourselves in this diseased state, not just physically, but mentally.
Yeah, totally.
And so we're wondering, why am I feeling so crummy? I have money to pay my bills. Everybody's fine. We're all doing good. And yet I feel like crap.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah.
And so we have to then reach out and take ourselves out of this comfort or complacency and realize that putting ourselves in the right amount of stress is
huge benefit.
Key.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I heard recently with somebody, it was like, imagine if there was someone being raised in an environment and there was no stress, all comfort, ease, no stress, everything given to them. And I'm like, okay, I can picture those people. I'm not like making passing judgment. I can have pictured a person like that, right? We can imagine what we're talking, just well-off individuals that have well-off lives and they end up not in good spots. And it was like, all right, on the opposite end, imagine if you were in a video, you were creating a human and it was like, I would want this person to be high grit, high patience, great discipline, and great mental resilience and emotional control. In order to develop those character traits, can they develop those character traits in a very chill, non-stressful, comfortable environment?
Right. Yeah.
Those character traits are built through fire.
Yes, sir.
Like you have to have suffering and struggle and discomfort in order to achieve those character traits. So with that being said, right, then I'm like, okay, take it a step further. Something challenging is coming into place, something unforeseen, very stressful. Good. This is an opportunity to work on these character traits.
Yes.
Perfect. This is what I needed.
And it's like, we can look at adversaries or certain people or relationships that are challenging for us as an opportunity and even thank them. So thank you for being so challenging on such a level that I am now forced to grow in a way that I wouldn't have without you.
Otherwise, yeah.
And so it's an interesting way to look at it. And I still struggle with that at times because I'm like, wait, I want to thank them, but that hurt. But no, but yes. But at the end of the day, I don't have to even figure out that argument because I love who I am now.
That's huge.
And I love being able to share this from such an authentic place. And it's because of the experiences I've had. And, I think those things that were a challenge before become our greatest strengths.
I agree with
that.
So,
and that's because we're focusing on because we had to.
Yeah. Well, otherwise, what are the options?
Right.
Wallow in sadness.
Well, a lot of people choose that.
Oh, yeah, right.
And a lot of people choose those excuses and those things. And that's where my demographic of people are the ones that are saying, they could be just wanting to become a better version of themselves and be clearly on the path and have that clarity. But it could also be someone that's just stuck. Like, I know I want better, but I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I don't feel comfortable in this place or this place. But I think I could give Outlive Labs a shot. We're just going to hang out in a sauna. Oh, the cold plunge. Okay. Yeah, I could do that. Oh, a little bit of movement. Yeah, I could do that. And then wake them back up. And so there's highly successful people in this place, and there's people that are just coming out of maybe a stage in life to where they feel a bit shattered or lost that could benefit from it as well. So that's why I say it really is for
for everybody.
For everybody that has that mindset of, I'm going to be better because of this. Maybe I just don't know how yet.
Yeah, that's totally fine. And that there's no rush either, right? As in, like, you don't have to have the answers. Like, I know exactly what I want to be. Well, I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out.
We're all still finding it out, aren't we?
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
like, I hope I'm not the same person in 10 years from now that I am right now. I hope I'm different and better and wiser and stronger.
That's I love that. I'm going to adopt, I'm going to steal that if that's okay.
Yeah, steal it.
Do you want to be the same person you are right now in 10 years?
No.
Yes or no? Well, sometimes, yeah. I mean, I'm
same?
not condescending, but like if I'm asking somebody,
Yeah.
that's a great question.
Yeah.
Just to self-reflect on.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that we don't love where we are right now. Like I hope I'm representing the best of who I can be right now.
Yeah.
But I don't want that to be the same person.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Even tomorrow.
I like that. Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole point. That's that peak state that we are going to outlive our limiting beliefs around health and aging and possibilities and all of it. Like, dare to dream. Let's get bigger.
I think I also like, and talking about Wim Hof and the extreme temperature change or contrast therapy, some movement, just things that are challenging and uncomfortable that are difficult for anybody to purposefully put themselves into, knowing that there's going to be an outcome that might be greater than what I'm at currently. But anyway, like Wim Hof as an example, I know you mentioned it with an extreme cold temperature exposure. There's like a spike in dopamine of like 5,000% or something like that.
Something crazy. I don't even know what I don't know if anybody really knows what the actual percentage is.
Yeah, good point.
But
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a huge spike.
And it lasts. So it doesn't just spike for an hour, say like some people that are looking for that through certain drugs. That lasts a very short period of time and then you have that huge drop off.
Yeah.
So the benefit of the ice is that you get it and it lingers.
Yeah, that's cool.
Without that drop off.
And then imagine leveraging that with, like, I know exercise has also been found to be a huge benefit with that. And they're like good stressors at the same time. With the cold, right? Or hot, not hot, but just like a sauna contrast. But consistently back to back for 5 days a week, 3 days a week over the period of like 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine there'd be significant changes that would happen if someone were to undergo that.
Yes. So as of September 21st, Outlive will have new hours and a whole program around that. So actually, when I said I want to monitor like how you're feeling at the beginning and how you're feeling at the end, we're also going to be monitoring all these different changes that you experience, say over even 3 months. I don't even think you need 6 months would be great. Then it's a habit. Then you're doing it. It's set. You're set for life. But even give me 3 months of 4 days a week and go through this. And I want you to monitor like, for me, after getting out of the cold plunge, I'm not a runner. I don't like running, but I make myself do it. The run I have after the cold plunge is completely different than doing it without. My breathing is not as heavy. It feels easier and lighter, and I know I can do it even though I'm still in the same body.
Yeah.
But it just feels completely different. And so many people are having this experience where you're getting, because of that dopamine, you're getting the ability to have this better workout. So then you're going to see this better results too, not just in your muscles and in your breathing, but also in your function in all of life.
Yeah.
And it's like a switch, just turning that switch on, but you have to keep doing it.
Right. I love that. That's cool.
It's so exciting.
I can tell you this is good.
I'm like, energy. We have to learn how to tap into it.
The tough thing was like a contrast to what I'm gauging from you right now is like, imagine somebody who has ailments going on and they go to a doc and the cardiologist walks in and this individual is overweight, doesn't look like they exercise. They're not super enthusiastic about their job at this point because they're very busy. Like, that doesn't convey the same message that I'm hearing right now from you. Like, there's the conviction and the enthusiasm is gone for that individual, and they don't look like they're actually investing in their own advice. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a disconnect.
There is such a disconnect. And what I would say to that person is, if you're depressed about being in that situation and you feel like you're in a continual cycle and you're not sure how to break it, I would say just come, if you're local, come and sit with me at the biocharger, and which is another amazing platform that we have, and let your body get recharged naturally just from that energy, and then allow yourself to get into the sauna. And then you're going to get that nice warm and everything's moving and you're detoxifying. And in your mind already at that point, you know you're doing these good, healthy things. And then you're like, okay, wait, I'm feeling, maybe I will try that crazy cold plunge. She says, blah, 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 all these wonderful things about it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just try it. And they try it and then they feel amazing. And then they're able to do whatever they can do in the workout.
Yeah.
Even if it's just jumping around or doing some walking lunges or stretching, let me look at your posture and point some things out that you might want to, think about. Or the breath is such a huge piece
I was
of it.
going to say, let's talk about breath work. What do you mean by that? What's your stuff?
It's the building block of life, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So, and we take it for granted and just because it's keeping us alive, obviously, throughout the day. And we're just having these little short bursts of air. But if we used it as a powerful tool that it can be used as, it's an instant state change when we're supplying all of that oxygen to our blood and getting it moving in our brain. We don't have to go for that long run to get that. Like, you can do it sitting in a chair every day, wake up and do a certain series of breath, just to invigorate yourselves and capture those thoughts and move forward. So that's kind of more what I'm talking about. It's more of a performance based. There's also some really cool stuff where you experience almost like I want to say hallucinogenic effect from it. And there's breath holds and different things that you can do. And it's a whole experience just in and of itself. Mine is more like for a training purpose. I really want to get you into a heightened state of mind and a positive heightened state of mind.
That's cool.
By using it.
Yeah, That's awesome.
And that's a big deal when you're in the cold as well. You have to
what strategies
get the breath
do you have?
work.
Strategies for people that they're very uncomfortable, never done it before.
Right.
They're not hyperventilating, but it's like...
But they would.
Yeah.
So I talk to everybody for a few minutes before we get in, and I just kind of walk them through what to expect. Especially for men, the more fit they are, if they've never done it, there is this gasp, like, I'm going to die. Oh my gosh, get me out of here. Like just like a cat trying to get out of the tub or whatever, they're just like, they can't get out of there fast enough. And it's that breath. So I teach it from a mental standpoint. So this is our opportunity to understand that we're in control of the body, and we're going to do that by breathing. And so we do a slow inhale through the nose and then hold just for a second or two. And then a slow exhale out the mouth, hold. But it's all about you in charge of that. And that sounds like such a simple thing to do, but it's such a difficult thing to do in that situation.
Moment. Yeah, freaking out. Yep, totally.
And I just love watching people transform as they do it. So some people will get in for like 20 seconds. Oh, wait. And they jump out. Oh my gosh, wait, I'm still alive. I'm here. Okay, I'm alive. Can I try it again? Like, yeah, sure, try it again. And I have people that'll go in that same session up to 5 minutes the first time in 34-degree water. And the breath work is good and everything is beautiful. And there's just this, it happened last week actually. And this one girl was sure she couldn't do it. And she got to 5 minutes and I could just see this whole serene calmness over her. It's a really neat thing to witness. People really transform cool. right in front of you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Certain that she couldn't do it.
She was certain. Yeah, no way. I can't do it. Nope, 20 seconds, that's all. I'm just going to do it because my friends are here. It was a big group of people. And that is a huge part of it as well. And if I may say why I chose to build Outlive this way, as opposed to more of a spa-like environment, was because I see people doing things that they wouldn't normally do if it was just them behind closed doors with even with one person. And and all of that ice. Like it's intimidating.
Yeah.
But first, whenever there's all kinds of people around, you could know them, you could not know them, but you're watching people go through this and you're seeing the benefits and they're getting hyped and everybody's excited to be there. Then they know that they can too do it because they're watching it happen. Yeah. So it's such a powerful thing.
Energy exchange.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. We wanted to break down those barriers of, that people can have walking into a spa, which, it's great. There's a time and a place for that. But this is just leave your limiting beliefs at the door and let's just play full out for an hour.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember saying like, your guys' culture, right? It's like we're out here in bathing suits. Everyone's just hanging out, run, exercising, getting in the hot tub. People are cheering other people on, like, are just good energy. Yeah. So you're like dropping the ego at the door.
Yes.
Just be you.
Just be you, and celebrate who you are and who you are becoming, and that fact that you're showing up for yourself and wanting better for yourself. Yeah. And it's something that a small percentage of people will do. And so a lot of people, when they're scared of getting in the cold, I'll also say, congratulations. You're one of the very small percentage of people that would even go this far. So you're already benefiting just by challenging yourself and considering doing it. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I am? Okay. Yeah. Maybe I could take one more step. Maybe just one.
Let me just dip my toe in there. Yeah. So just put a foot in. That'd be it. Yeah. That's cool. All right. 5-minute foot plunge. We'll do that.
Yeah. Hey, we'll start again. No coercion at all. It's always people need to know that they're in complete control of the experience. I can guide them on what I think would be best for them and the experience that I think they would want to feel by doing it a certain way. But we all have a different blueprint. What some people can get in and do 3 minutes right away, having never done it before. And then other people, and it has nothing to do with that I've been able to discern shape or size or male or female, maybe a little bit of those things, but it really is the mindset.
Oh, I could totally get behind that. Yeah. For sure.
I can't wait to get you in there. And
I'm excited. Try it. I'm excited. 34, I'm certain I can't do it. It's like, I have something for you. That's awesome. Yeah. So you mentioned like you gained the confidence to be able to do this. Yeah. Like to start Outlive Labs and take this journey. Yeah. Move from San Diego to here. Yeah. What do you mean by the confidence to do that?
Great question. So when I started, I wasn't sure where or what I was going to do with this next chapter of my life. My kids have grown, they're out of the house, and I'm ready to still take part in life. Like I'm not, I'm just starting over, I feel like. And
I can't imagine, like, because my kids is 4, my daughter's 4, and my son is 2, and we're expecting one in November. I can't imagine my daughter being 22 years old. Yeah. So, it breaks my heart thinking about that.
Oh, yeah. Enjoy every moment. But you know what? You just fall in love with them even more every day through every stage. My mom would always say that. She'd be like, just wait. Every stage, it's a different kind of love, and it grows deeper. Cool. Because you get to see them going and accomplishing amazing, beautiful things. Yeah. And there's just so much fulfillment in that. But so when I moved to Florida, I was like, how am I going to cold plunge every day? There is no cold plunge anywhere that I wanted to do, at least in West Palm, because the Morozco is the only way to go, in my opinion, because it's the only one that makes ice. It's the only one that cleans and purifies the water the way that it does. It's got a grounding effect because of the way it's built. And so I knew I was bringing my Morozco here, but I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do. Yeah. And how am I going to use it? Where am I going to put it? I don't have a yard. And thus began the journey of just exploring that. And I didn't have the confidence at first. And even I knew what I wanted to do. I knew the message was in there, but I hadn't verbalized it yet. And so I've been discovering and uncovering that with myself over these last 2 years, and then edified in that by seeing people's reaction and responses to it and seeing how much of a need there is for it. And it goes so much more beyond the physical. It's touching each other in a way that has a lasting emotional effect. And that's where the confidence comes from, just in doing it scared,
Yeah.
doing it totally scared.
Yeah. I love that. I heard that one time recently. And it was like, just do it scared. Like, you don't have to not be like, courage isn't the absence of fear.
Yes.
It's the action despite the presence of fear.
Yeah.
And just doing it anyway, and just, okay, be scared. Just do it scared.
Like, what if firefighters didn't run into the house with all the training that they've had because they were scared?
Yeah.
They have all the training. And
like, nope, not allowed to, because I'm scared right now.
Yeah.
We'll just do it scared.
And I found too that's why training in all of these different ways, mentally and physically and spiritually, is so important to do when we're feeling good about life, because that's building that muscle in the good time is what gets us through, determines how we get through the difficult times.
Right.
Right. So the tendency is to let off the gas a little bit and coast because life is good. And if we do that, then the storms that come are going to be harder.
It's a great point
to manage.
I like that.
It's all part of that mental resiliency and creating that variability in our workouts and our routines, and knowing that we're stronger than protocol.
Through your journeys and stuff, where did you gather all this wisdom?
Oh gosh, over years and years and years. And just really as a learner, from wanting to have better for myself and wanting to be a leader for my family, and knowing that there is no other way that would be acceptable for me to live life. And so it's just this passion that I have to have it for myself. And then in seeing people around me and understanding there's so many that also desire it, and we desire that community.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if I build it, I think they'll show, like there's so many people out there that want it. And yeah.
I think the other, the community, being yourself, growing like that in a non-judgmental atmosphere, the fear of like, well, I got to keep it together, I gotta keep it together. I gotta get a good persona kind of maintained, or showing weakness.
Yeah.
Right. Do you see that?
People showing weakness,
or just like the difficulty of being vulnerable? That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Well, personally, I am I live pretty vulnerably. Authenticity is something that it's just, I can't sell anything, like we were talking earlier about the difference between biohacking and sort of like what Outlive does. Mm-hmm. And that authenticity, that vulnerability of saying we're not selling anything other than a mindset and a lifestyle, a way of wanting to be in community together and of being in peak state together. And everybody's going to probably approach that a little bit differently. And I think that is a vulnerable thing to say, because, I just think to be able to share where we've been or where I've been, and that it hasn't always been pretty, and that I've been unconfident about where it is, and I didn't know what I was doing. And then now, how do I know what I'm doing? I know it because of I've been showing up and I've been doing those things. And so now I have the confidence to bring it to other people because I have done that research and been open about it. But I see people opening up a lot in the cold plunge. It brings forward a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
And so I'll see some people like cry, or there's anger, especially with people struggling with PTSD. There'll be some anger and panic and fear, and none of it is real in terms of their environment hasn't changed, know, that there's nothing scary. I always say, I'm like, it's just cold water.
That's a good point.
Just cold water.
Yeah, that's a great point. Did
that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. Totally. That's awesome.
Oh, vulnerability is a tough one.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I love the it's just cold water.
Yeah.
But also, like, I like what you, if the PTSD, not my realm by any means, right? PTSD, or people getting heightened emotions during this
Mm-hmm.
cold plunge experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, your perceived danger is actually not accurate.
Correct.
Like, there's actually your perceived danger is different than the actual danger. which can be managed.
And
okay, if that's the case, then it's a mental not a problem. It's a mental experience.
Response.
It's a mental response.
Yeah. And it's been forged for good reason, I'm sure. It did keep us safe in those certain situations when we needed to use it. And then those of us that are managing that now are, like, for me personally, I had no idea all the different ways that I was always in a fight or flight response. Always. To me now, looking back, I could see where that was so much the case. And I couldn't even understand it until I started to regulate my system and allow myself to just be. And that's what the breath work and the hot and the cold and the movement in this very safe environment has allowed me to explore and recognize, even though it's not a fun thing to recognize, or it's not something that I really want to be like proud of having had or having had to deal with. But it's such a powerful thing to be able to observe the changes.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Thanks.
For your own sharing for people, right? Just shedding light and encouraging people.
Yeah.
For your own nutrition, right? So we mentioned this for the physical components and some fitness, right? For your own nutritional habits, what do you feel like you would recommend? How do you navigate your own nutrition?
Oh, that's such a great question. And I think it's so different and yet also the same building blocks, right? So we have to hydrate with good water, just good, healthy, clean water and whatever nutrients that we need to get, electrolytes and that type of thing. But I think that's such a cornerstone. And nutrient dense foods. I believe in whole foods and organic foods and eating. I don't trust anything that didn't have a mother or come from the earth, So if those are kind of the two things that I've found for me. I know a lot of people have certain restrictions and different things that they have to do to maybe reduce inflammation. I don't restrict myself to a point of stress about it, because I think being living joyous and free in that, knowing that I'm doing all of the things to take care of myself and love myself, is ultimately what reaps the most reward. And they found that in blue zones as well. When they studied, what do they call them? Super agers all around the world in all these different blue zones. What they found is that it wasn't their diet specific. There was no specific diet. In other words, it wasn't a lack of, not eating meat or even not drinking alcohol. It was an organic wine maybe that they drank, or it was organic foods that they were eating. But the one main thing was community. So if they had a sense of purpose and they had community,
interesting,
they're aging well and happily as, over 100 years old. And so I think we have to concern ourselves less with some of that. We also have to understand the environment we're in. The environment we're in with the government and the way that our food is being processed is not to make us healthy. So we need to understand that. If we understand that basic and then move forward, I think
I agree.
We're fine.
We're on the same page with that.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think it's really cool right now. Like, obviously it's a very hot political climate right now, but I definitely agree with that. Like, man, I could go all day about that.
Yeah, tell me.
But just like the cycle of purposefully maintaining a high inflammatory state systemically, and then the consumption of media and of content that enhances our consistent fight or flight states continually. Great recipe. And the food not going to facilitate any help. And then easy solution is pharmaceuticals, which are designed to create lifetime customers, not help provide solutions.
Correct.
Times 50 years. Like by the time someone's 63, like what's that look like? You know what I mean?
It looks like, I saw the statistic this morning. I want to say it was like 85% of people over 60 are all on at least one pharmaceutical.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably very generous.
I agree with that generous number. Yeah. I just disagree with the notion of like well, you have to be on this med forever. Like, no, don't tell me what to do. Number one, like, I don't trust you, number one. Number two, like, why, right? There's plenty of people that have gotten off meds. There's plenty of people that don't take any meds. It's just a matter of choosing that, you know?
And there's a lot of people that have used the ice plunge and have seen those outcomes for themselves as well, where they were told for a thyroid issue or some autoimmune disease that they were going to have to do something or take something for a year or for life, and they're not now.
Yeah.
And it's simply that lowering that inflammation. It's slowing tumor growth. There's so many amazing things.
Something else that, well, on that same note, it's interesting is like, I see this is, I mean, who knows if I'm accurate on this, but it seems like, and everyone has their own situations, and I don't know everybody. I'm not an allopathic medical expert by any means.
Right.
But autoimmune issues, rheumatoid-based issues, inflammatory, IBS, Crohn's, thyroid issues, type 2 diabetes for sure. All those things, it seems like, can be purposefully manifested and fostered with a lifestyle that includes the nutritional stuff we were just talking about, and then pharmaceuticals, fight or flight, continual states. Everything's inflamed.
Yep.
Everything's heightened and inflamed, and it just leads to a systemic reaction by our physiology and our bodies that then just create these issues. And then they swoop in and say, "Don't worry, we have a vaccine for you. Don't worry, we have a pharmaceutical for you. We got it. Just give us your insurance card. You're taken care of."
Don't deal with the things that are allowing you to go into these habit-forming behaviors of reaching for the wrong food, or just because there's really no excuse anymore. Information is everywhere.
Yeah. It's just a matter of choosing to believe it.
And now,
diving into it.
But the proof is in the pudding. Like, we see people that are living well. We see people that are living happy lives. And there's pretty much a recipe to it, you know, and there's variances within that, but there's certain building blocks in place.
Right.
You know, and I think the biggest one is capturing our thoughts. When we're capturing any sort of false thoughts or false feelings that we're experiencing, and turning them into the truth, and understanding that our feelings aren't always working in our favor.
Right.
That's the first step to understanding who we really are and where, you know, what we're capable of.
Yeah, totally. I love that. Pain science is another big topic. I feel like we've delved in some.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm going to talk about pain science in a second, but the recipe for here, it was a cool neuroscientist that I heard their presentation on something, and it was like what their studies are finding for the fountain of youth, which is 6 things. And I want to hear what your opinions are on this, but she was describing like for longevity and maintaining cognitive sharpness for as long as possible. It's a combination of exercise, like fitness, purposefully, and introducing physical stress to your body that's a benefit. Nutrition, which looks like not processed, refined sugars, processed carbs, alcohol, smoking, stuff like that. So a good nutrition habit. Sleep, quality sleep.
Huge.
Stress management, which I think...
Cold plunge.
Yeah, exactly. Outlive Lab cold plunge. Check off that box. Which I think is probably the most undervalued one that I think is a part of like overall longevity and health, is just stress management. That's my opinion.
And that's a multifaceted approach too, right? Like, it's the cold plunge, but it's, in my experience, it's the cold plunge was what helped me, but the community that's around that, that when we have that person that we're coming home to in the evening and we get that hug, like what type of, that's stress management. 100%. So, totally. And we're so isolated now. Go ahead.
Well, the 5th one I was going to say is that. The 5th one was meaningful social engagement.
Yes.
Which is a community of people that are like-minded, that you like, and you have legitimate, vulnerable relationships with.
Yeah.
Not just, superficial top layer, and everyone's got to be done up, and like a certain persona you got to maintain. And then the last 6th one is mentally challenging activities, which mentally stimulating activities, which she described as not crossword puzzles.
Right.
And I was like, huh. And what she's saying was like, it's to create new synapses. new pathways of learning, which would be like learning a new language, like things that would be hard.
Yes.
Where it's like, I spent an hour trying to learn this thing and I wasn't able to, it was hard. I'm trudging through the mud and I couldn't figure it out. And I'm drained right now. It's like that stuff.
It's so good. And we know it. We know it when we experience it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that. Then I was like, darn it, you're totally right.
I thought I was doing it with just this, my Sunday morning crossword puzzle.
Exactly. I'm not a crossword puzzle guy. I'm never good at those. It's just not my I don't know. I'm not good at them. It's just
But
not
then
my
that
thing.
might be really good for your brain health.
Could be. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I guess what you were saying was like not crossword puzzles as in like if you're really good at crossword puzzles, people naturally gravitate towards the things they're naturally good at,
Right.
and just doing more of the same thing. You're learning the same things over and over again, and that's not creating new synapses. So for someone like me, I'm not good at crossword puzzles. That would be a benefit and a mentally stimulating activity. But in general, she was like stuff like learning a new language or a new instrument or new math skills that you're not good at algebra, like whatever, you know.
Well, and math is a language. So
That's a good point.
my grandfather was such an amazing role model for me. So he passed away just before 100 years old, like just a few months before 100. He was not on any medicine. He had no disease. It was just, his time to go. I think he used a walker maybe the last few months of his life, but he was always very independent. And so I look at him as a role model and I think, what were the things that he did? So he was also a pastor. So he had a very faith-filled life. Prayer and meditation was his building block, as well as eating, I think the foods they had access to back then. And my family is also Greek, so there's a lot of just good whole foods, and so that was there. And so we have faith and we have the food and the community that came around that. His sense of purpose and what he provided the people around him was such a loving message. It was not done in a judgmental way. He just wanted to share with people that God loves you, and it was such a beautiful way. Also, the other part for the mental aspect was and the brain aspect was he would study Greek and Hebrew and translate words and different things because he really wanted to understand the actual meaning. He didn't want someone else to tell him what something meant. He wanted to dig in and figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think that kept the brain going. And he was also very physical as well. Just, running and gardening and swimming and all of those things. And so I've seen it lived out. And I think that's where a lot of my personal vigor comes from for my belief in all of this is because I've seen it.
Yeah.
Like
cool.
I've seen it work, how it works.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. And I think proof, like you can be almost 100 and not be on 15 meds, that are just counteracting each other.
So amazing. I'm like, okay. And that was before anybody was talking about any of this. And so to have experienced it beforehand and then look back and go, wait a minute, it has to be real because I've seen it.
That's really cool. I love that. And also, what I'm going to say is things could be definitely taken out of translation. It's just my opinion again. I think it was really cool that he was diving into the different language barriers and trying to figure out a translation on his own. Because things are definitely, in my opinion, can be easily taken out of translation.
Oh yeah, taken out of context.
And then therefore out of context.
And he would say that all the time. He's like, if it doesn't make sense, then it's probably more of a prose type of position, as it relates to faith and religion and those types of books that we read around that, in my case would be the Bible.
Yeah.
And he was like, when God said he owns 1,000 hills, he didn't mean that he only owned, we know when we're reading poetry and prose and we know when we're not. And so he's like, apply your brain to understand the logic.
Yeah, a little more metaphorical representations.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And it's okay.
I think it's thinking like and also like utilize as some kind of moral high ground that is leveraged on purpose, which is like a self-esteem issue. And I'm like, okay, then let's dive into that then if that's the actual problem.
Yeah.
That's just another my opinion.
And I just think like focus on loving each other, right? And letting people be where they are. Because really we can only be where we are. It's kind of a silly thing to say, but
makes sense.
I can only be where I am. You can only be where you are. And we can have a certain mindset that allows us to receive new information. Hopefully that's the key. But having more grace for where people are and just letting them be.
Yeah, I love that.
And accepting them in all of it. And I think that was an important part of Outlive for me as well, is I didn't want to exclude anybody based on like a certain level of physical acumen. I wanted there to be something for everybody. The only requirement was really mindset and the desire to be better.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that. So, well, where can people find you? Like tell everybody again where you're located.
So right
and
now,
how they can reach out.
So right now, I like to call it my incubator space. I've been incubating for the last year. I'll be opening formally September 21st.
Okay.
West Palm Beach by Grandview Market. We're in a warehouse style, just open setting, and it's kind of indoor, outdoor, palm trees. But yeah,
cool.
So that's where we've chosen to be for now. More locations coming soon, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How can they reach out to you?
The best way would be my website. So either through outlivelabs.com, or you can reach me. I mean, I have a phone number.
Yeah, sure. If
Or
you're okay with it.
my Instagram account as well as outlive_labs. I have my number for the business line is 954-3445. Oh, wait, no, I messed that up. I'm going to have to.
We'll put it out.
954-335-5444.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. No, totally understandable. I know exactly where you're at with that. I was in the same boat.
There's so many things to know and do and remember.
Totally. Well, thanks for coming out. I appreciate you sharing all your insights and some of your history and like your motivations and stuff, and what Outlive Labs does and how they can help people.
Well, thank
y'all's
you
methodology.
Too. Thank you too, Kyle. It's been a pleasure meeting you and seeing what you guys are doing here as well, and hope to collaborate more as we both kind of develop and become better versions of ourselves.
Yeah, I want to come by and challenge myself with this 34-degree water. It's just cold water. Relax.
Yeah, it's just cold water.
Well, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
And if y'all have any questions, we're always open to comments, questions, concerns, conflicting opinions, ideas for topics or stuff we can talk about or get guests on board and stuff. And if you have any questions about like any pain, like joint orthopedic, sports, physical therapy type things that we can help you out with, definitely always reach out. We're always open to at least having a conversation and see how we can help you or send you in the right direction. So definitely tune in and we'll catch y'all next time.